I love when the Covenant weapons are in the Halo structures, like the Forerunner structures, and you see the nanite and lumen like kick in, and the like blaster bolts are like flying all over, and there's just reflections everywhere.
Because I got so many physical games. I've probably got, I don't know, over 100 or so from that I've just bought over the past year or so.
You guys gotta let me know about these sales.
Don't have an end date. Have a start date and say the end date is when you do what we want. I don't know about you, but my browser usually turns into a chaotic mess within an hour of starting my work. Before we jump into today's video, I want to mention that this video is sponsored by Opera. I've been using it for a while now in order to keep my workflow actually organized, and it has been a complete game changer for me. The biggest issue that I usually have with other browsers is having 40 tabs open at once. With Opera, I use their tab islands. I can just drag related tabs together like my research, news articles, and social media into these islands, and then I can label them, I can color code them, I can collapse the ones that I'm not using right now. It makes the browser so much cleaner, and honestly, I can finally find what I'm looking for. When I'm in deep work mode, I love their split screen feature. I can drag my research page right next to my outlines, or I can compare two websites side by side without having to toggle back and forth between them. Plus, I don't even need to open up extra tabs for my daily essentials. I can just have Google Calendar and Gmail pinned right here in the sidebar. I can check my schedule with one click right from inside my browser. It's incredibly useful. And my favorite part is the video pop-out feature. If I'm watching a video or listening to a stream, I can detach the video, move it to the side, and then keep it on top while I continue working in another tab. It's seamless. And if you want to check it out, I've left a link down below for you to download Opera in the description and pinned in the comment. Now, back to the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to the NerdNest podcast. I am your host, Bill Fairchild, and welcome to the new NerdNest. We've got Jimmy, we've got Russ. Before I go to them and ask them how they've been, because I haven't really had a chance to talk to these guys in forever, I do want to tell you guys one thing. The internet in my office is terrible. And if the show decides to just die, then trust me, I'm working on a solution. Hopefully we can get through this, but there's no way for us to know until we get to the end of the show and I actually look at the final recording. So wish us luck in the comments down below. Russ, I feel like I haven't talked to you in ages. How you doing, man?
I'm good. You know, it's I made a joke in our Discord. I was like, you know, if we when we start this, we should make introductions of ourselves and to each other because it's been so long. So yeah, it's good. It was just timing. You know, I was gone and then I came back for a bit, then went to Australia, and then you guys were moving and doing all that stuff too. So, but happy to be back.
Happy to talk to you again, man. Jimmy, how you been doing? What's new with you?
I'm just down here in my basement, clicking away on videos, making PS ready, deck ready. I've been writing some horror movie scripts. Just been working like a dog down here.
I bet his internet works just fine.
What?
I said, I bet your internet was working just fine.
Yeah. This internet's great, dude. Gigabit up and down. I got it all wired.
Maybe someday. But hey, we're not here to hear me complain about my internet issues, which will get worked out eventually, I promise. But we are here to talk about video games, and we have a lot of video game news to talk about. We got some PC stuff, we got some Sony stuff, some Xbox stuff, Nintendo, and then just industry standard stuff. Let's start with this this thing that I wanted to talk about, because I just put out a video earlier today where I was talking about, is it the year of Linux gaming? Is it finally here where everybody can just use it and not really have to worry about it? And then I saw this story about Windows Windows has this permanent identifier that can follow you around even if you have like a VPN. And like, this is the kind of stuff that makes me want to say bye-bye to using Windows completely. And I was just wondering, what do you guys think about this stuff? This idea that even if you're using a VPN, even if you wipe the hardware and then reinstall, you have this permanent identifier that follows you around and tracks you. What do you guys think about that, Russ?
You know, it's I guess the way I approach Windows is that I always just assume that it's like doing things in the background that are not cool. You know, like it's like watching me or whatever. You know, like that's just kind of, it's just, and it's not like a new thing. Like that's just kind of always, I've always felt like, oh, you know, Windows has never been really cool. It's just kind of there and we use it, you know, but it's not something that really respects our privacy in the same way as something like Linux, where I feel like it's just because it's so open source and transparent that you just kind of get a better idea. I mean, I can't look at any of that stuff, but I just trust that the people who do care about that stuff and know about that stuff are able to peek in there and kind of get a better idea. And so, yeah, for me, you know, just looking at the headline and whatnot, it's like, yeah, I'm like not surprised, but then also it's like, yeah, typical Windows.
Yeah, so it says here that the GDID persists across operating system updates and account changes until a complete drive wipe and clean reinstall. It says Microsoft logs VPN exit IPs alongside your GDID. So that identifier is linked to you even when you're using a VPN so that they can track what you're doing. And then it says if you've signed into Microsoft services like OneDrive, Edge, Sync, Outlook, Bing, who the hell is using Bing? It amplifies the linkage by pairing all of your account data with your device identity. And then even setting diagnostic data to minimum does not remove the identifier. Jimmy, you've recently made the switch from Windows to Linux. Is this one of the things that are this kind of thing one of the things that made you say, okay, I got to get away from this? Or did you switch over to Linux just because you just like it better?
I switched because I just like it better. I still have a Windows PC. I got a great clearance deal on a Alienware pre-built, but it literally only has 2 apps on it. It has Steam and Discord. I've never installed anything else on it. So I guess they're just tracking me playing Battlefield 6 and Dead by Daylight all the time. They can hear all the vile, horrific things I say into my microphone when I'm playing Dead by Daylight. Because that is the most toxic game on planet Earth, dude. It does not have any voice chat, and that is the only game where I think it's for the better. So they can enjoy my insane diatribes I go on in Dead by Daylight. They've heard some stuff, but yeah, I agree with Russ. This isn't surprising, but yeah, I didn't switch because I was like, oh, I hate Windows, I gotta switch. I just started naturally gravitating towards SteamOS once I installed it on the PC I have in my living room. And now that I'm mainly TV gaming on the Steam machine, yeah, I just use Linux. So that's just kind of where I gravitated, just because it's easier. But yeah, I mean, just add it to the list of reasons you probably don't want to use Windows 11 in the big 2.6, right?
Right, exactly. All right, so keeping with the theme of PC, there's another story that I wanted to talk about, and this is you got to be kind of careful. Most of the time, you don't have to be careful with what's going on Steam because Valve checks that stuff out. But apparently, there's now this. There's a couple of stories that I saw where there's a Steam forum. One second. Sorry, I had to cough real quick. There's a Steam forum, ClickFix, attacks and infects gamers with some kind of crypto mining thing. So I found this story, and basically what people are saying is if you're going through the Steam forums, you got to be really careful about what links you are clicking on, because people are posting things that will download an executable and then launch it on your computer and then use it to do crypto mining and then send the crypto mining stuff back to, whoever's in charge of this thing. And then you combine that with the other story where the FBI arrested this 21-year-old who was accused of infecting 8,000 different PCs with malware through fake Steam games. They roughly stole about $220,000 from crypto wallets. Do you guys know people that use crypto to pay for things?
No, not at all.
No.
Y-
Zero
yeah, okay,
people.
me either. Some people do, but it's not nobody I've ever met. But basically, they've been infecting PCs by putting out fake games on Steam, and then people, I'm assuming they're free games, but they get those games on their computer, and now they're just getting hacked because of that. And I was like, this is the thing where when I look at Steam, I always think, okay, I'm in a safe place. The things that I'm buying from here they've been checked out, they've been vetted, so I don't have to worry about it. That's one of the advantages of having a store that has a tiny bit of curation, because just downloading exes from the internet, that's like the Wild West. But it feels like maybe Steam isn't quite as secure as we thought. What do you guys think about that, Jimmy?
Yeah, I just saw that in Mecha Chameleon, however you say it.
Oh, right.
Through the Steam Workshop, they were spreading malware. And then on PlayStation, I just talked about this on PS Ready this week, through those Black Ops 1 and 2 ports. Apparently because, they're not actually like new ports of the game. They're just like whatever, the PS3 version ported up. All the hacks that have worked on the PC and Xbox versions forever work just fine. So this guy who has a dev kit, if he's in your lobby, his name is like C is not sharp. What he's been doing to people is boosting their accounts to Prestige 55, which sounds like a good thing at first because you're like, oh, it'll just unlock everything. But apparently it just breaks the game once you get to max Prestige and makes it so you can't matchmake anymore. So it's just like everything now just has terrible security and it's just becoming a problem. I mean, that's cool. I love that.
Yeah, I would say, looking at the ClickFix article, talking about, so essentially people are, using these Steam forums to essentially talk about, hey, my game's crashing or something. Can I get some help? And then the people are replying to it, these scammers or whatever, and saying, yeah, I had the same issue. Here's a PowerShell script. Just run this and then run it as admin and you'll be good to go, right? And it worked for me. And I think the three of us are probably smart enough to be like, I ain't clicking on that. You know what I mean? But, a new generation of gamers are born every day. And some of these younger guys may not have the background we have, where we've seen decades of people doing dumb stuff like this, right? But a good example for that would be my son, who he's 17 years old, smart as a whip. But he grew up clicking on iPads and, all that kind of stuff, right? So he has this different interaction with electronics than I did as a kid, obviously. And I noticed this very early at an early age, that he will just click on pop-ups and get rid of them as soon as he can. You know what I mean? Like he figured out how to yeah, exactly. Like he figured out how to swipe up to get rid of pop-ups before my wife and I had figured out how to do that on a phone. We used to just wait until it ended and then be like, okay, now we can go on. He'd be like, if you figured all that stuff out, right? And so I think that personally, he and other people in his generation just have this predilection to just click on things to get rid of them. You know what I mean? But we are kind of older and what does that say? What does that mean? And so that's why I worry about things like this, where younger users might come on here and be like, I really want to play this game. Let me just try this thing, and that's when they're going to get hit. And so, yeah, it's weird where it's a strange dichotomy where I see it and I go, that's bait. And then someone else is like, okay, let's try it out.
Yeah, there's this idea that, and this is something as an educator, I hear people all the time have this misconception, is that young people understand technology. No, they don't. They know how to Snapchat till the cows come home, but they don't know how any of it works for the most part. They're like, it's almost like my parents, but with less, when you look at my parents, they are afraid of technology. Like I ask my dad, my dad will call me and ask me how to do something and I'll try and explain it. And he'll be like, that's too hard. I can't do it. I'm afraid. And I'll be like, okay, I'll come to your house and do it. The kids, they have the same level of knowledge of how technology works as my parents do, but they have none of the fear. And so they're just like, yep, we're just going to click things without reading anything. And they don't ever research something before they try it and find out what it does. And man, that is a nightmare just waiting to happen. Sorry, because of my terrible internet, I cut Jimmy off. What were you saying, Jimmy?
Yeah, basically I was getting at the same thing you are. Like I read that I guess like people one generation below me, so like Gen Z or Gen Alpha, like because they grew up with iPads and tablets, like they don't know how to type on keyboards anymore, which is
Mm.
crazy. And then I was also thinking about how Xbox is trying to make an off-ramp for consoles straight to PC. And like I feel like this is just another thing they've got to worry about now with stuff like that, where it's like you're basically throwing someone who's only played in like a very guarded public pool into the ocean, right? Like there's so much more you can do and like so many random pathways you can accidentally walk down. I mean, I don't even know how you teach people to be suspicious of this stuff other than letting them get bit and then being like, okay, now you know here's how to stop it in the future. But this scam, I can 100% see how it gets the average person because, like, when you're on the Steam forums, you just implicitly kind of trust the information you're getting, right? So, yeah, this is crazy, and it's wild that the guy was able to get that much money before he got caught.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're in the wrong business, I think. All
I
right,
wouldn't know how to
let's
set
talk.
this up.
Yeah, that's true. I might know how technology works, but I couldn't do this kind of thing. That's for sure. Let's talk about Sony for a little bit. Both Sony and Microsoft had outages this week. The latest PSN outage is exactly why gamers don't trust Sony's all-digital future. This is an article from DualShockers. They say basically the network suffered another widespread crash, which is something that we've seen Sony or PlayStation run into over and over again. Like their network is just about the least secure of anything. They're always down. Okay, I'm being a little melodramatic when I come to them being always, or when I say that they're always down, but they're down more often than a company with that kind of dollar signs behind them should be, in my opinion. But this happens right over they're making that push to go all digital, which we'll talk about that in a little bit, but they're making that push to go all digital. And then of course their network goes down and the people can't play the games that they want to play because the network is down. And it's like, everybody's like, see, this is exactly what we're talking about. They're not, I think your friend Jimmy, he had a great thumbnail that said, they're not ready. They're not ready for this digital future.
I made that.
No, you made that one. Okay. Yeah. That's a great thumbnail because when I saw it, or the title, I can't remember if it was the title or the thumbnail, but it was "They're not ready," and I'm like, yeah, they're not ready. No. Jimmy, talk about this a little bit.
Yeah, I did a whole video on this, but it's just like there's a pile of mistakes Sony's made with their online infrastructure. And I just read an article that was talking about 8 ways Sony can improve the PlayStation Store. And like halfway down, it's like make wish lists functional. And I was like, what? So I started reading into it. And I guess when they increased the amount of games you can add to your wish list, it just broke wish lists once you get to a certain number of games on it and they just never load.
Oh, no.
So you have to go on the website to see your wish list games. There's also these bugs going around where like, it's really easy to have your account stolen. Their network does go down a lot. I would say, like, I used to cover it every time because it was happening, like, you know, every couple of months and people liked hearing about it. But then it started becoming so constant that it's not even news anymore. It's just like, yeah, the PlayStation Network's down. Oh, there's a new beta going on. Yeah, the network's down. Oh, a big game is launching. Yep, network's down. It's Christmas. Oh, yep, it's overloaded. It's just like you can set your watch and kind of figure out when it's going to go down. And yeah, like one of my driving points over the past few videos has been like, if they're this adamant about going all digital, they need to do something about the PlayStation Network and the PlayStation Store, because this isn't a new problem. This goes back to when they launched it on the PS3, and the more features they add, the worse it seems to get. So like something's got to give. I don't know if they can rebuild it or like what, but they need to hire some firm. Maybe get Kerry over there. He can fix it for them. He seems like he could figure it out.
I don't know if they'll ever fix it because they don't really have competition to force them to do better.
Right.
You know, what do you think about this, Russ?
Yeah, you know, it's so a couple things that come to mind. Number one, it happened on a Friday. And that really is just kind of a bummer for gamers, especially those who are paying for online multiplayer. And then they can't even use it on a Friday, which is like the day to do that stuff. And then also, you know, many single player games apparently like check in on the internet before you can play them, even if you've got them you bought them, you have them installed in your hard drive. And so people weren't able to access those games too. Not all of them, but there were some. And that's just scary. It's one of those like, hey, our service, which is admittedly bad, is now going to be the only way you can access your games, like the whole digital thing. It's like, yeah, like Jimmy said, you got to really update that infrastructure, make it something that people enjoy using, or at least look forward to using, or at least don't complain about all the time.
And they charge for it. It's not free.
Right. Right.
And it's expensive.
Yeah, and it was down for 8 hours, and I'm sure that they'll be like, oh, we'll extend, like whenever this happens, usually the companies will extend your renewal date by however long it was down for. But that's not good enough. Like if you're paying for something, you expect that it's going to work when you want it to work, and when it doesn't, it's got to be infuriating. And like Russ said, Friday night, like a lot of people, that's when they have a chance to sit down and play games after a long week of, they go to work and then they come home and they've got to make dinner and clean the house or whatever, and they don't get a chance to play a game during the week, maybe because they got to get up early the next day. Well, Saturday they get the day off, so they stay up late to play games, and now they can't. It's got to be really, really. I'm glad that I didn't have time to play when it was down, because I was just too friggin' busy unpacking everything, unpacking, because this was just a few days ago. But it's crazy. Okay, we brought up the disc or the disc issue. Sony has addressed it, and I'm using quotes, which is when I posted this link in our Discord, Carrie just laughed at the idea of their addressing it, because their addressing it is pretty. It's basically, yes, we know that you're upset and we don't care. That's essentially what they said. If I scroll down in the article here, basically, here's what they said. People have strong views, okay? And then they concluded by saying Sony needs to continue exploring how it can engage with the consumers within a future digital ecosystem. Essentially, they're saying, look, we've made our decision. We know that you're mad about it, and we're not going to change anything. And I think the reason is because the same reason that they don't have to fix their network. They don't have any real competition. Microsoft is stepping on rakes every 15 seconds. And while Nintendo exists, I don't feel like Nintendo competes directly with Sony. And there's always people that say, oh, well, in Japan they do. Okay, but worldwide they don't. Most places, Nintendo fans are going to buy a Nintendo system no matter what. They're always going to buy a Nintendo system. And usually they'll have one of the others as like their alternative, or they'll be perfectly happy on just a Nintendo system. So I don't really see Sony and Nintendo competing with each other, and Xbox is stepping on rakes, so they don't have to do anything. And that's why we end up where we are. Russ, what do you think about, I don't think that we've spoken at all since this whole thing about discs started. I think that like we've missed each other every single time.
Yeah, I've spent some time internalizing it. So I've kind of gone in phases with Sony and whatnot. So when they raised their prices, was that a year and a half ago, I actually discontinued my service with them. I was like, you know what, cloud saves was mostly what was keeping me on. And it's like, I don't need cloud saves. I'm not going to be playing games. And so, and then I went, I mostly was focusing exclusive only, which is weird because during the PS4 era, I was buying games on PS4, multi-platform games, and then I kind of went back on PS5, and now it's like to the point where I was only buying the games that weren't on PC, and then they got rid of the whole PC thing. I'm like, well, now what am I going to do, And so I've been kind of thinking about like now with it going all digital and whatnot, like how do I feel about that? And in all fairness, I've got a PS5 digital version. Like I have a very big digital library. I don't really have any discs on PS5. I've got a lot of Xbox discs. So that doesn't affect me too much, but it also rubs me the wrong way, in many ways. And so that kind of makes me think about it too. But the way I'm seeing it, especially with today's like, them addressing it, quote unquote, it sounds to me like they sat down and they were like, listen, we're going to make a lot of money off doing this, but we're going to get some hate. We're going to lose 12% of our user base or whatever, they made a number up. And I think they're still kind of towing that line. So hearing these kind of reactions and saying, oh, people are upset or whatever, that's, to them, they're still kind of thinking along those lines of, well, this is what was expected. What'll be really interesting is whether or not something actually turns the tide. For a while there, I was watching like the Sony Twitter, and they would tweet something and then it would get like just bombarded with comments, right? And memes and stuff. And I would just look at the numbers, be like, how many comments versus likes, But I got to be like, as soon as they announced Black Ops 1 and 2, all of a sudden they were getting more likes than comments, right? And so it's like, yes, people were mad until they just kind of went back to normal, And I think that's what Sony's banking on, but it still doesn't make me feel good. I don't want to live in a world where we do this, We still have vinyl releases of music. We got Blu-rays of movies, even though everyone's doing digital nowadays. And I think that discs they still have a place, especially 10 years from now, 20 years from now, when a game gets pulled from a store and you have no other means of playing it. Within that ecosystem too, which bothers me, it happens on Steam too, but there's just, on PC, it's an open platform. There are many ways to get around that. So yeah, I don't know. I've never been a huge like Sony fan. I've always liked the PlayStation games, but I've never been a fan of the way Sony conducts themselves. And this is just kind of typical for me. But I don't know, who knows? Hopefully I would hope that they maybe, I don't know, take it on and make some adjustments. But at this point, I don't know. I read somewhere that they already are like redirecting the people that work in the actual disc factories, like and making them work in other projects and stuff. And so I don't know, it might be too far.
Jimmy, do you think there's a world in which Sony changes course on this, or do you think it's locked in?
If by some chance they lose a lot of money from people choosing to not buy games, that's the only way that's ever going to change. And as Russ just said, the second they put up those abysmal ports of Black Ops 1 and 2, everyone folded. And like, I talked about it a little bit. There's a little overlap, I would say, between the audience for these Call of Duty ports and like the gamers who are upset. And I think there's enough there where, there was some bleed over, but it kind of just goes to show that the number of people who are upset about physical games going away, myself included, are small enough to where Sony can just ignore them. Because the next time, Black Ops 2 comes around, or Grand Theft Auto 6, or Wolverine, if that turns out good, everyone's going to fold immediately. Like, even this boycott, the PlayStation blackout, they set a start and end date during a time when nothing's coming out. So it's not even like really a big loss at all to just flip your PS5 to offline mode for a week and not buy games.
Don't have an end date. Have a start date and say the end date is when you do what we want.
Yeah, but then you say, don't buy freaking Wolverine, don't buy God of War Laufey, don't buy GTA 6, and everyone's like, no. Why would I do that? It's like, because that's the only way you're going to show them that you want physical games. So I don't think that's going to happen, surprisingly, to nobody, but it is kind of a bummer because like what Russ said, I've been saying the same thing on PS Ready. It's like, if you want to get music, you can buy vinyls. If you want to get movies, you can buy 4K Blu-rays. If you want to get books, of course you have the Kindle, but you can also just go to a bookstore or the library, and the library offers games too. So like, that's a huge thing that's going to go away for a lot of people who are maybe they get an older console like a PS4 at a garage sale or something, and then they're able to take advantage of the library to play some newer games because they stay in circulation for a long time. There's a lot of stuff that just goes away, and it's weird that just gaming is the one that they're like, yep, we're going to kill off physical stuff. My take has always been, if there's 10 people, a million people, or 100 people, as long as someone's willing to buy them, they should produce them, because it really isn't that expensive at the end of the day. It just seems stupid.
The other thing for me too is that, the resale market, like I get it. Like I'm not a fan of GameStop, but I like the ability to go and buy a used game. And I like that for people who maybe they can't afford to buy a $70 game as soon as it comes out. Right. And I like this idea of, people who are kind of more bargain hunters. And I fall in that category too, and that whole ecosystem going away kind of bothers me. And the other point you just made me think of is like, okay, so say there's this boycott and everyone's like, okay, do not buy God of War Laufey, right? And so everybody boycotts it, nobody buys it or whatever. You know what Sony's going to do? Yeah. They're just going to close that studio, be like, this was not a successful game. And so now we're screwed again. You know what I mean? And so Yeah, it's a really tough position, and I don't like the fact that we're even in this spot and that Sony made this announcement. But yeah, we'll see how it falls out.
Also,
did
it's
you see
kind of
their
like
other
shooting
petty move
yourself
this
in the
week?
foot. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Rich or Jimmy. Damn it.
Their other I'm not Rick. Their other petty move was announcing the God of War Laufey release date like a week after Fable, and it's like, yeah, I get that you have confidence in God of War and you really want to stick it to Xbox and their game that they've been working on forever, but I just would never have that much confidence in anything, whether it was Call of Duty, a new God of War with Kratos, anything, to make a move like that where you're intentionally just butting it right up with a game that's extremely similar from a 10,000 feet view up, right? Like Fable and God of War Laufey are both fantasy games. It's just like, I don't know why they get like that anytime they start to pull ahead. The best time to be a Sony fan is when they're losing, because then you get the PS3 generation, which in my opinion was kind of the peak of Sony being consumer friendly and actually talking to their fans. And that led right into like PlayStation experience and everything. It's just like annoying now.
Yeah, I've talked about this on this channel and on my previous channel a bunch, where when you look at the competition of like, you know, you've got Nintendo, Sony, Xbox, whoever's in last place usually is doing the most consumer friendly stuff. And whoever's in first place usually gets really overconfident, flies too close to the sun, and crashes and burns. And like you just brought up the PS3 generation. Well, that's the Xbox 360 generation, right? And then like Microsoft was on top of the world at that point. They were doing so well. And because they were doing so well, they figured they could do whatever the hell they wanted. And so they started with, you know, the way that you couldn't share your games with your friends anymore, and all the TV stuff with the Xbox One. And then they did terribly because of that. So, Jimmy, do you think that there's a chance that PlayStation, I don't think there's any chance in which they reverse course on this, but do you think that if Xbox comes out with Project Helix and it has a disk drive and Sony's doesn't, do you think there's enough people that care about this that would make a dent? Or do you think people are just too entrenched at this point and they're like, well, but all my stuff is on PlayStation and all my friends are on PlayStation, so I'm going to stay with PlayStation even though they're pissing me off?
Dude, I don't know, because I think about this a lot. I think there is a small subsect of people who are, you know, probably older, probably have a little bit more money, and are mad enough at Sony where they're like, yeah, I'm going to jump ship and go to PC, start rebuilding my library. I'm going to take advantage of those Steam sales. I'm going to be like Russ and Carrie and find all these used Xbox games and get the buy two deal and free deals. And I think that person exists. I just don't think it's really enough to hurt Sony at this point. Like, Xbox has been losing for so long, and Sony's built up such a massive sort of like ecosystem of consumers where, like, if they didn't feel like they could lose customers safely, they would have never made this move to begin with, right? Like, they're essentially saying they're okay to lose these people who ironically are their hardest core fans, right? Like, who buys discs?
Yeah,
right.
The people who care. So I don't know. I think they've just gotten too big to where they can finally just do what they always wanted to do, which is stuff like this, and charge whatever they want for games and, you know, say deal with it. Because that's pretty much the defining statement of Sony right now, is just deal with it. And people are. That's the crazy thing.
Yeah, it's hubris is really what it is. I mean, I think anybody at the top just kind of has to battle that, you know, and yeah, it's unfortunate. And yeah, like I've said before, like I'm not a huge fan of the way Sony conducts themselves. And yeah, the way I'm looking at it too is like there's so few and far between Sony exclusives that would actually drive me towards owning and buying console games, you know, that, you know, the way I'm seeing, I might miss out on some games like God of War Laufey and stuff, like especially, we'll have to see. But when the PS6 comes out, I don't really have any plans of buying it.
Yeah, there's more games than ever now. Like, I get like a generation ago, if you skipped the big Sony release, you were dry on a new AAA, big, high quality game for 2 to 3 months at a time, maybe even up to 6 months. But now, I mean, you can close your eyes, and by the time you open them again after counting to 10, there's a new indie game like blowing up on Steam. So,
Right.
like, I feel like it's way less, essential to own any of the consoles now than it was even 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I know we kind of have a self-selecting audience here. I know, like, I did a live stream the other day and I did a poll during that. And because somebody had asked me to run a poll if you had a PC, if you had a console, or if you had both. I don't know the exact numbers, but pretty close to 40% had PC only. Pretty close to 50% had PC and console, and very few people had only console. And I feel like the people who are watching this, the people who like make this kind of content and listen to this kind of content, I think for those people, most of them would say, I'm okay just ditching the console altogether. And that's not something that I felt like I would say, I don't know, 8-9 months ago. I would have been like, no, when the new thing comes out, I'm going to get the new thing. But now with the prices of RAM being so expensive, that means the hardware is going to be really expensive. And then the fact that, they're doing all of these anti-consumer things, it makes me just feel like, okay, I think I might just move away from consoles altogether and just stick with PC and Switch because I'm a Nintendo fan. And so, like, I'll always get a Nintendo system because of their games. But all of the games that are on PlayStation, they all kind of feel kind of samey. It's always like a third-person action game with some RPG elements thrown in there. And I can get most games that are like that on PC anyway. So I might be with you, Russ. I don't know that I will buy a PS6 when it comes out. And if you had asked me a year ago, I would not have said that.
Yeah, the way I'm thinking about it is like, okay, so when I was younger, for most of the other consoles, I had to choose which one I would buy for that generation, mostly as a financial decision because I didn't have money for all of them, right? And so I'd be like, all right, am I going to get a GameCube or PS2? And each one I'm going to be missing out on something, right? I'm going to miss out on certain games, and that's just how it is. And I feel like as I got older and I had more income, I was like, I can actually afford all of them. So I can have all of them and I can play all of the games. That's great. And I don't really have the time for that, but that's the position I'm in, And now I feel like I'm in a part where I'm going to just make a decision, be like, no, I'm just going to buy PC games. And it's not anything to do with money, but just the principle of it. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to put my money where I want to see success. And a good example is Halo Campaign Involved. So that came out, immediately bought that game, started downloading. I'm like, can't wait to play this or whatever. And then somehow in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, wait, this probably also is available on consoles. I didn't even think about that. And I probably would have rather have played it on Xbox, like an Xbox console game. Didn't even think about it. I already bought it on Steam and already had downloaded it and was already playing it on Steam Machine. And that really goes to show like how I've kind of changed my perspective on things, because 5-10 years ago, I wouldn't even have thought of PC. I would have been like, new Xbox game. Let me get it on my Xbox,
Yeah.
And that really shows just kind of how things have changed.
And by the way, we're going to talk about that game later on in the episode because I was playing it today, just a little bit earlier today, and I'm impressed. But we'll get there soon. Any last thoughts, Jimmy, before we move on to Xbox news? He says no for the audio listeners. All right, so Xbox also had an outage, which is why Jake's video was titled "They're Not Ready" because Sony's not ready and Microsoft is not ready. Basically, there was another outage there was an outage for Xbox, and basically, here's what it says here: Xbox CTO Scott Van Vliet, I think I said that wrong, said his team has traced today's outage to the failure of a licensing service that Xbox depends on. That triggered sign-in scenarios to fail, followed by many servers that require an entitlement check, such as listing your full library and launching games that you own. He said it also affected several of our publishing and store partners who depend on those same systems. Oh my God, pop-ups. PC Mag, stop with the pop-ups, you dinks. Where the hell was I? Seriously, there was an entire full page ad that was like, do you want to subscribe to PC Mag? Covered up the entire story. Store partners who depend on those systems, which is why some of you saw issues on specific games and not others. It came back unevenly across regions, and then this is an unacceptable situation is what they said, and we must do better to support you. Okay. That's great. I don't care why it happened. Just be better. Make sure your shit works. Were either of you guys affected by this? Did you, Jimmy, did you and Ray talk about this on one of your dual talking head shows?
I helped Ray write out his thoughts on it for a solo video, and I had to really think about that because it all blends together. Because Ray and I help each other out a lot, and yeah, this is really nice to see them come out and say, hey, this shouldn't have happened. The physical discs should have been playable during this outage. We're going to do better and fix that. Whereas when Sony has an outage like this, you never hear about it from them. You just have to sit there and wait or use a third-party tool to know if the PSN is down. Right. And then you might get in a tweet like 2 days later that's like, sorry. It's like crazy. And like, I know Xbox definitely talks too much. I think that's been one of their biggest issues for a long time, but they are talking at the times where it matters. And I think it's really cool that they were like, yeah, this is our fault. It should not be like this. The discs should work when there's an outage like this. We'll fix it. That's all you got to do. I thought that was pretty cool.
Russ, anything?
Yeah, so for me, I get it, like outages happen and whatnot, but I do, like Jimmy said, I appreciate the transparency. I think it is kind of neat that they did that, especially in contrast to Sony, like right now in terms of timing, like it couldn't have been better, you know? Yeah, I mean, I feel like they could always, like if I was in charge, I'd be like, all right, let's give everyone like Geometry Wars or some game, you know, be like, cool, hey, here's a like $1 game, you know, and like, sorry about that, you know, here's Bejeweled or something, just something dumb that they own, right? And that would be kind of fun, just so they'd be like, hey, sorry, we're going to make it better next time. Those are the little things that I think would endear people to the brand, and also just really separate them from Sony. I mean, we can all see this and be like, oh, you know, in contrast, like we can see an article where somebody wrote this in contrast to Sony who didn't, but we're in the weeds. Like I'm talking about just a regular user who's just like, hey, Xbox was down, but hey, they let me know why and how to fix it. Maybe, you know, send everyone an Xbox message and give them a free game, just like a real small game. They own so many IPs, you know, just take advantage of that.
I feel like you're right about the idea that there's probably people who were affected by this, like they couldn't play, but they don't know that there was an outage. They were like, maybe there was something wrong with my internet, or you know, maybe they tried and it didn't work, so then they just turned it off and did something else. And because they're not in the weeds, you know, they're trying to, like, they have no idea because they don't follow this stuff super closely. So I like the idea of you saying, hey, we had a mistake and we're letting you know about it because we're trying to be transparent with you. Again, this is the idea of somebody in third place or in last place doing the most consumer-friendly thing. You know what I mean? I think that's definitely, it's good that they at least admitted it and explained why. But I think both of them need to do better. You know, we talk about the disc versus digital thing. Do you guys, I mean, oh, Russ, you got your hand up? Go.
I was just going to add to that too. Like, so if they did that whole free game thing, and again, this is just me like spouting off nonsense, but if they did the free game thing too, and they gave it to everybody, then think of it from a perspective of somebody who didn't even notice the outage. Maybe they only play every couple of weeks, right? But they log into Xbox and they just immediately see, hey, there was a problem, even if it didn't affect you, and here's a free game. And so that person just got a free game just by the benefit of using an Xbox, which I think, again, endears people more and more to that platform. And so those are the little things that I think that really matters. And I just don't see these companies really thinking along those lines anymore.
Because they charge for it. That's like the whole thing at the top layer of this. This isn't a free service. And I don't like the way they act about it, where it's just like they assume they have that money. Like they set their watch by the amount of money they get from PS Plus or Xbox Game Pass or
Right.
Live or whatever it's called now every month. And then when they start to lose money from that, they like stomp their feet. They're like, oh, why aren't you paying us every month for our service that doesn't work? Like, come on. And it's like, I don't want to pay for it at all. Like,
Yeah.
I think it's crazy.
Yeah. Do you guys think that do you think there's any I know that Sony's in the hot water right now because they're the ones that said they ripped off the Band-Aid and said we're getting rid of discs. Do you think Microsoft follows suit? I can't imagine there's a world in which they're like, in which they don't say, well, that means we can get rid of discs too, because they don't like discs either.
I watched Digital Foundry's podcast today, and John Linneman revealed that pre-Xbox reset, they were very adamant about making sure that there was a disk drive going forward, not because they're like reliant on the physical game sales, but because they wanted to make sure you could bring your Xbox 360 and Xbox One and now Series X games forward to the Project Helix. So like that was pre-reset, but knowing that the reset is trying to do good things that will grow the brand, I feel like that's something they probably would just say, yeah, we're already working on that. Let's continue working on that, especially now when you've got the, like right in front of you. It's like a little baby. It's this beautiful slam dunk, like super move you can make. Like they should hire Shuhei Yoshida and Adam Boyce to recreate that video from the PS4 era. Neither of those guys work at Sony anymore. Like you could do that. It's right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I think at the very least, an external drive, and then some of the rumblings we've already seen with this idea of being able to digitize your physical games if you want to, you know. I like all of those ideas, like the ability to be like, listen, we are going towards digital, but we are going to take care of you either with an external drive. You can still run your games off that, or if you want, you can digitize your games and bring the license over for your digital library too. Because I got so many physical games. I've probably got, I don't know, over 100 or so from that I've just bought over the past year or so.
You guys got to let me know about these sales. I need to know mostly, going forward.
Yeah, it's just really, it's going to GameStop and then like when they have a buy two, get one free sale, and then just sitting down with yourself and being like, okay, do I really need to own this game? You know what I mean? Do I need Madden 2023 for $2? You know,
no. You need NFL. You need NFL Fever 2002. That's the one you need.
Yeah. See, I'm a Joe Montana sports stock kind of guy. I'm a little bit older, so. But yeah, like that's the thing. What's yours?
Madden 94.
Bill?
Madden 94. That's the one that I played.
Nice. Yeah. And so, so it really, I think anything they can do to kind of help bring that over. Yes, I can see them having only digital consoles, but an external drive just kind of solves those issues. And I feel like Sony could have done that too. The problem with Sony is that they're like, no, we're full on never making games again. Like we're never making physical games again. And that's the issue there. And
no, they're never making games again. They're going to continue trying to make live services and just remake The Last of Us forever.
You're not wrong. All right, continuing on with Xbox news. This one is really weird. This is posted over at Xbox Wire. It says, play more Ubisoft games on PC. New content now available for Xbox on PC, plus free PC redemption. Basically, if it says players who own the digital Xbox console version of select games can now access the PC version through Ubisoft Connect at no additional cost. And that includes a few different Assassin's Creed games, an Avatar game, a Far Cry game, Immortal Phoenix Rising, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. The list goes on. What do you guys, I mean, first off, I don't care about this because I'm not going to use the Ubisoft Connect stupid thing on PC. But
it's so bad.
There's a lot of people who will. You know, they'll try it out if it gives them access to games they had on console. Now they have access on PC. Do you guys think that this is a canary in the coal mine when it comes to how they're going to get the games that people have console versions for on PC when Project Helix comes out, and Helix is just a PC? And I'm doing that with air quotes for the audio listeners. You can't not. It's an audio. It's a podcast.
No, I know. I was
So
thinking.
yeah.
I don't know.
So go ahead. Yeah.
Oh, no, you go ahead. You go ahead. I talked last.
Sure. I was just going to say, that I think it's less of a transfer from console to PC is what I'm seeing, but more along the lines of consolidating into an Xbox ecosystem, and that's kind of where I'm going towards, like this idea of like, potentially once Helix is out, you can play games on Epic Game Store and maybe Ubisoft and stuff through this, right? You don't have to necessarily have owned it through the Xbox ecosystem. And maybe this is just kind of tempering the waters of getting people used to this idea of you will have one home. Even if you've bought it elsewhere or you've got different libraries going on, Xbox will be your home for that. And that's what I'm kind of seeing here is like a consolidation of effort. Even though this one's kind of Xbox console over to PC through Ubisoft, like that's kind of what I'm seeing is that this idea of, hey, we're just trying to give you more ways you can play the games that you already own. Yeah, we'll see. I agree too, though, that I think that there's going to be a moment where my Xbox digital library, my console games, I'm going to be able to play them on PC. And I can't wait for that day because I got a big library there too. So, yeah.
Well, and you have all those discs that you bought, Russ. So if you take those discs and then you turn those discs into a license for a digital game, and then that also gives you the license to play the game on PC, suddenly you have access to like your PC library just grew by a lot. And that's not something that people like really planned for, but it's pretty amazing, right?
It's a good deal. And at that point, my Xbox library, if you take in my discs and my digital purchases and stuff like that, it's because that, when during the 360 era, man, I had like every game, So that library is bigger than my Steam library. And so the idea of having an Xbox library that I can play on one Project Helix, it's got all my all my titles consolidated into one. That's like the first argument I've heard where it's like, oh man, that might be a better time than playing on Steam.
Is that enough to push you to buy Project Helix when it comes out? Because I know we were talking about a little bit ago that we're less interested in consoles, although it's kind of a PC.
So to me, that would be like my Helix would be like my backlog, like classic titles. Like I'd be able, if I wanted to go and play that Xbox 360 game from back in the day or whatever, and I could do that all in one, which I can kind of do on my Series X anyway. I can just put the disc in and a lot of times they work. So that's kind of where I'm seeing it. I don't think going forward, I would necessarily buy games on Xbox when I could just get them on Steam, especially if you can access Steam on the Helix. But yeah, I do see myself buying the Helix just because of the possibilities there.
Okay. All right, Jimmy, what do you think about this news?
I think it's cool. I mean, like I can make fun of the Ubisoft launcher now that I'm an adult with money and stuff. But if I was in college, this would have made my day knowing that, boom, I get all these like Xbox games I already bought on PC, and the Ubisoft app allows you to transfer saves. Like most of their games since AC Valhalla, they've made sure have cross-account support. So then I'd be like, oh, I just built my first gaming PC, which I did in college. Now all my games and all my saves are like free there. I'd be stoked about that. So that makes me happy from that perspective. Am I going to use this? No, I already own a lot of these games on Steam, and I don't want to screw with my Ubisoft app because I did something to it where it no longer ever asks me to log in. Like I've never had to log into it on my Steam machine. I never have to log into it on my Steam Deck. I've played like old games like Rainbow Six Vegas 2 recently. I played new games like AC Odyssey and Black Flag Resynced. It's never asked me in months. So I'm just going to leave it alone and never interact with it again because something is correctly configured with it in my favor. So we're just going to keep it over there working as intended or not.
Meanwhile, every time I go to do the AC Valhalla benchmark, I have to wait for it to check for DLC that I've never purchased. It's like checking for DLC, and then it just sits there and spins, and I'm like, come on.
Why does it have to check every time? Set it on a timer for like once every 6 months. That's crazy.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't know why. Anyway.
They have so much damn DLC.
There really is. There's too much DLC. All right. So somebody had got hands-on over at Digital Foundry. Speaking of Digital Foundry, hands-on with the Xbox back compat for PC, the new initiative that begins with 4 classic games. Basically, the games are Blinks, Fusion Frenzy, Crimson Skies, and Conquer Reclassified. Microsoft has just announced that the original Xbox titles will soon be playable on PC through new backwards compatibility effort, and we've gone hands-on with the app and played all 4 games as part of an initial launch. This is a litmus test for the future. That, by the way, that was not a motorcycle outside my house. That was somewhere else that I just heard. That's okay. I don't mind. It wasn't at my house. That's all I care about.
I'm in the basement. You won't hear anything.
But should pave the way for more original Xbox titles, to say nothing of 360 era games. So these are games that you could not play on PC, and now they're being ported to PC. This is a question that we had asked over and over and over again when Project Helix got announced, and they were basically like, it's a PC. And we were like, okay, well, how does it play those old games that were never released on PC? Well, it looks like they're working now, and I think that that's really exciting. Jimmy, what do you think about that?
Yeah, I saw people shitting on this, like saying
Why?
that they're not true ports. It's using the 360's emulator to emulate these. Who cares? This is cool.
Yeah.
I love Fusion Frenzy. My brother and I used to play Fusion Frenzy all the time. Like, because our dad was really cool, and the Christmas that the Xbox came out, he got us the Xbox with every launch title. So we literally spent all day on Christmas going through like 50 games because it launched with 50 games, and we were hooked on Fusion Frenzy. We got past like the second level of Blinks the Time Sweeper. So even though these aren't like great games by any means, I have nostalgic memories for them. And I told my brother Edward, because he has my old ROG Ally X, the not Xbox version. I was like, bro, we could play Fusion Frenzy. And he was so excited. So I think this is genuinely very cool. I hope they keep up with it, because there's a lot of like random obscure Xbox exclusives that came out, like Amped Snowboarding. I was so into that. Like, keep them coming. I want these weird obscure Xbox games to keep being playable on PC.
And you were talking about the fact that they're not ports, they're just emulating. You can do things like increase the resolution by 2 times, 3 times, or up to 4 times. The maximum resolution that you can bring them up to is 2560 by 1920, which and they don't have widescreen support. But this is game preservation. This is the thing that I think is really important, is preserving these games, because they're art. And I like that it's not a port. I like that it looks the way that it did back in the day, and you can see what that was like back before you got 4K with upscaling and all that stuff. I think that that's really cool that they're preserving these games. Russ, as the retro guy, you got to be over the moon for this, right?
I honestly think that this is kind of the ideal, like they're setting themselves up for an ideal potential future for preservation, right? So taking, like, not even looking at this Xbox thing, let's just take Nintendo as an example. So Super Nintendo games. Right now, you can pay a monthly premium to play, like, to have the pleasure of a curated list of Netflix-style Super Nintendo games you can play on your Switch, and that could go away at any time. And that's basically it. You're not owning these games. You're just kind of paying for a service there. And I appreciate that you can play a Super Nintendo game on your Switch, but I don't think that's the solution. So what if Nintendo had an option where it was like, hey, here's a cartridge reader, and you can pop your Super Nintendo game in, and it will verify that you own this game, and then you can just own that game. Or you could just purchase your games piecemeal. You want to play Mario World 2 on your Switch? Here it is. Associated with your account, you've now purchased it. Like, that to me would be a more ideal way of having preservation, where you're able to digitize your physical games, and then also that you could just buy them outright and then have that associated with your account. Sure, they could take it away at any time. I get all that stuff. And I kind of feel like Microsoft is going in that direction, like this Xbox emulation, like OG Xbox emulation, which is notoriously difficult to do. They're just going to do it for you and be like, hey, listen, you can now purchase these games and then just play them outright. They're associated with your account. And so you're able to play these original games, and with the benefits of some of the things that we're adding to it, including upscaling and resolution. All that sounds great to me. Now, if we go back to that whole like external drive and digitizing your library and stuff, that's that other piece that I would really love to see too, because for preservation as well, I've got a bunch of OG Xbox discs, you know, like Jade Empire and stuff, and I would love to just be able to digitize that, add it to my account, have this emulator that I could then play on my Helix, and then there I go. You know, I've got my whole library there. That's kind of like, for me, that's exactly what I want to see. And of course, you still have the disc, so you can put it in your original Xbox. You can still play it there. You can play them on the 360, most games too. But that's kind of what I'm seeing there, is that this is really a good move in terms of preservation, and then just like opening up opportunities. Now, if they don't do this whole physical to digital thing, that I'm probably going to be pretty disappointed with that. But in general, I love the idea that they're just bringing this back, and you know, console games on PC is awesome. So yeah,
very cool. All right. Real quick, I want to talk about, Double Fine. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this. I just want to let people know that Double Fine, which got spun out from Microsoft because Microsoft is selling off some stuff, now that they're all by themselves and they don't have Microsoft's money to back them up, they had to lay off a bunch of people, which sucks. But I kind of saw that coming. But the one thing that makes me, like, obviously these layoffs, they don't count towards those 1,300 other layoffs that Microsoft announced that they haven't pulled the trigger on yet. Like, those are different layoffs, right? Like, they didn't already count Double Fine as layoffs, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the number is actually higher than what they said.
Yeah. And it's going to keep going.
It is. It is. Did either of you guys play the Splatoon games at all?
Yes.
No.
The first two. The first Splatoon on Wii U has the hardest final boss of any Nintendo game I've ever played. And I've played a lot of Nintendo games. I spent a week on that motherfucker. He's so freaking difficult. It's insane. And I was an adult and I was really good at shooters. So I really liked the first Splatoon on the Wii. Or what is it? Wii U? Yeah, Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
Wii
then
U.
I played the second one aggressively at Austin Evans when I worked with him or worked for him. Everyone in our office bought Splatoon 2. We all had our Switches and we didn't get anything done for like the first 2 days it was out. And then I got Splatoon 3. Didn't even touch it. It's still in the shrink wrap. So I will be skipping this new one, but I like the series.
Well, the reason I bring it up is because it's got some actually pretty good, continue to cite. It's got some pretty good user score right now. It's got a 9.3 for the user score on Metacritic, and on OpenCritic, where did that go? Let me open that up. It's got an 80. No, that's just Critic. It doesn't have. It doesn't have enough ratings for player ratings on OpenCritic because less people use that. But on Metacritic, it's got a 9.3. The critic score on Metacritic is 82, and on OpenCritic is also 82. But like, that's pretty high rating for for a Nintendo game that is like, I don't know. I always think of Splatoon as like this weird cousin that shows up at the family reunion. You're like, they say funny things and you like having them around, but then when they're gone, I just immediately forget about them. That's where Splatoon sits for me. And you're right, Jimmy, about the last boss on Splatoon. That is one of my favorite last bosses of all time on the first Splatoon. Yeah, but it was really fun. And
yeah,
like the theme of it, he's like a DJ cheap. And it's all to the it's to the beat of the music that you're fighting this guy. It was really, really fun. And it, like, I beat a game. I never beat games. And I beat the first Splatoon because the story mode in the first Splatoon is really fun. It really is. The online component, I liked Splatoon 2 better than Splatoon 1 for the online component. And just like you, I bought Splatoon 3. Or I don't know if I bought Splatoon 3, but I know that I never played Splatoon 3. I probably bought it, and then it just sat there. I probably, you know what? I think I did the demo, and then there was a part where well, you didn't play it, but they had like these grates where you're on the Splatoon games, you have to go to the grate, and then you go in, and it takes you to the level. Well, in Splatoon 3, they hid the grates. They made them invisible. You had to just spray the ink around so that you could find them. And I found that really frustrating, so then I didn't buy the game.
You're like, I'm out. I love the first two, but that's just one bridge too far for me.
Exactly. It's always one bridge too far.
Hey, I respect
But anyway, with it getting such good user ratings, I think I might pick up Splatoon, the new Splatoon game, Splatoon Raiders, because I think it looks pretty interesting. But I don't know. You're not picking it up, Russ. You've never played a Splatoon game at all.
Just some emulation and stuff with it. Yeah, not my type of game, really.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah, it is a competitive game. It's not a story-based game. All right,
I
moving
bet
on
Rich
from
would be
Nintendo.
all over this because of the gyro. This game has the best gyro aiming of anything I've ever played, and I can see Rich.
My only gripe with it is the fact that you have to use a button to reset it because they don't have an easy way to deactivate gyro because your hand gets kind of out of position, and then you have to. I think you have to press
you click
Y.
the stick or something like that. Yeah, or
maybe it was maybe it was a stick. It was anyway. You had to push some button to reset it, and that's like my only gripe with it. But it was really fun when you were like using the paint roller because you could you would charge it up, and then you could whip the paint in a big line in front of you and then swim right through it. It was really good. I will say, Russ, on Wii U, try playing the story mode of Splatoon 1 emulation. I really think you would enjoy it. Not the story itself, but the gameplay.
Yeah, so I have played through probably the first maybe I don't want to say first hour, but pretty close to that in the story mode in the Wii U one, and I liked it a lot. Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. Yeah, it's just one of those I kind of maybe have to come back to.
So I just got a notification from Riverside that a new recording has started. Am I still here?
Yeah, and you sound way better.
Yeah, you sound better. You cut out for a second, like I saw a B instead of Bill for just a moment.
Jesus Christ.
Your audio is coming through way better. What the fuck? It's like 10 times better.
It's been hard for me.
So
I've been just I think there's been maybe 2 sentences where it's come through clear. Everything else is like digital, just waiting for my name. I'm like, okay, now I'm done talking. So
I'm following along in the draft though. And that's helping. That's good enough.
All right. Sorry, everybody. Anyway, you know what? Let's skip if you guys look at the stories that we have here, is there anything in here that you want to talk about, or do you want to move on to the games that we've been playing?
I want to talk about this Final Fantasy VII thing, right? So Final Fantasy VII Revelation, I haven't been following it super well, but I'm assuming this is the conclusion of the story, the trilogy, right?
Yes.
And the idea that they cannot confirm, that the devs cannot confirm that it's going to have a physical release, even though it's coming out early next year, right? Or at least, spring 2027. They can't confirm that it's going to have physical release. And I don't have the physical of the other two, but I just feel like that is a huge bummer for big Final Fantasy VII fans who are like, oh yeah, trilogy, I've got it here on my shelf. All the things that people would like to do and something they love and they want to collect or whatever. And if they don't make a physical release of that, it's just a bummer. That's just one of these things that we're losing with this all digital future. And it sucks because people have invested. Yeah,
I know. I want the box set.
Right.
I love these games. I like these remakes. Apparently they depends who you talk to, but apparently some people don't like these remakes. I love them. I'm not even a huge JRPG or Japanese type game guy. These I was hooked on both of them. I played the second one for over 100 hours, and I was waiting because they did a box set for the Rebirth release where they put both of them together, and I was like, oh, surely they'll do a third release of this box set. And it's like, bro, what the hell? And then Sony says that developers are allowed to sell cases with a code. I'd take that. I would be upset about it, but I would take that.
No, just thank you. I never want to buy a case with a piece of paper.
Oh
in
yeah,
it.
I can
That
just make my
is
own.
an
You're
insult.
right.
Yeah, right.
know
You
what?
could just make your own.
I'm imagining it like being a code like from one of those label printers like your grandma would have. The ones that could just spit out the label from the side and it's just like stuck
Right.
on the inside disc.
My guy, listen, I have one of those label printers, and if you guys, you probably can't see it, but I have wires right here attached to my mixer, and you can see, you might be able to see that there's labels on those
Yeah,
wires.
labels are good. Labels are good.
Those
I
are
just use colored
so
tape.
handy.
I use colored tape
Oh,
and then
okay.
it comes off and then I forget where everything is. So I could use the grandma label printer for sure down here.
I guess it's fair that you call it the grandma label printer because I am
My
a grandpa.
grandma had
So
it. I'll use my grandma's label printer. I'm sorry. I'm not
There you go.
even making fun of you.
he's an ageist. Yeah. Oh God, I wish I mean, I wouldn't buy it because I don't want to fill my house with plastic shit. But I want it to be there for the people who want to have that box set. You know,
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when I was watching your Steam Machine video, Jimmy, and you had your Star Wars box
my
set
VHS is wrong?
VHS tape. Right. Well, they're in the wrong order. Right. And but I saw that picture and I was like, I had that box set when I was young, and I loved having those box sets where they had, you know, the first one, the second one, the third one, and they had like they completed a picture or something.
Yeah, it's so
I think that
sick.
kind of thing
Yeah.
would be awesome.
If you bought every Nightmare on Elm Street movie on VHS, Freddy would be in the middle and his arms would be really long across all the other ones.
That's cool.
That's awesome. See what we're losing? We're losing
Freddy.
so much. You were losing Freddy. Oh. All right, let's talk about the games we've been playing. All three of us have been playing Halo Campaign Evolved. I have not played very much because I've been moving, and I only got about a half an hour to play it so far. I played through the first mission, and I gotta say, good Lord, this game is pretty. Like, they have made a really good looking game. I've been playing it on my PC, not on my Steam machine, because I heard it doesn't run so good there, but also because I only unboxed the Steam machine today, and it's currently inside the house downloading games so that I can do benchmarks and stuff. I guess I should have done what Jimmy did, where I just moved my SD card over, but I didn't think of that.
I
So
did
anyway,
extra.
Halo Campaign Evolved. Russ, what are you thinking about this game so far? How far are you?
Yeah. So I'm not much further than you. So I'm like on the second level. Like, so I've gotten out of the ship, and now I'm like on the planet, and you know, just kind of getting my bearings and stuff. I've played through that moment in Halo, I don't know, 20 times, you know, between the original Xbox, then emulation, then Master Chief Collection and stuff. And it is really surprising how close to the original it still feels. You know, there's definitely like, I'm not going frame by frame like, oh, this is different or whatever, but it's feeling really good. I like the way it looks, but I am playing it on Steam Machine. Ironically, like as soon as I got the Steam Machine in, I was working on my video and stuff. I'm like, all right, all these other PCs that I've been trying to use as like living room PCs, you're out, you know, even if you're more powerful than the Steam Machine. I don't need power. I just need like this beautiful like environment to play in, right? And then lo and behold, Halo is like the first game that really just struggles on the Steam Machine, and it's rough, you know. And again, this kind of was bitter too, because as I'm playing it, I'm like, oh crap, this could have been on console. You know, I could have bought this on console and that's kind of like it's like the good and the bad part of having PC games is that you can go in and fiddle the settings. And the bad part is you can go in and fiddle with the settings. It's like with Xbox, you just turn it on. Okay, performance, graphics, which one do you prefer? All right, enjoy your game, you know? And with Steam Machine, man, I'm in those settings. I'm like, I didn't like the way that my character just turned in this scene. You know, I didn't like the blur there. So let me turn off motion blur. No, I don't like that. So let me put it back on. It's like I've just been going in and out of this game, playing more settings than game right now, which is unfortunate, you know. And I think it maybe just is an optimization thing, and hopefully, you know, in the coming months they'll get updates that will work better on the Steam Machine. But right now it's pretty rough. So I'm playing at 1440p medium settings, FSR set to medium or whatever. They used weird names for it. And then I hate to admit this, but I turned on frame generation because it was running. I know. First time ever. But it was running at like 4.
I don't blame you at all.
Yeah, I was running at like 40-ish frames, and I was like, I can feel this 40, and I was like, let me just try frame gen and lock it at 60 and see if that works, and it does. And I'm like, and is the delay bad enough for me to complain? And it wasn't. And I was like, okay, this is just the reality I have to live in here. And so it's the first game ever where I'm using frame gen. It's like, ugh, I don't feel comfortable using it, right? But it definitely is like the better way, at least the way I'm experimenting or experiencing it. But yeah, I love the look of it. Everything looks good. I do want to play it on something more powerful though.
I'm playing on my living room PC. No, I haven't been playing on the Steam machine yet, but I've been playing on my PC, which has, what's the graphics card that you have, Jimmy?
9070 XT.
So I have like the 9070 OC, I think, for overclocked or whatever.
The same one. You have the same one.
Oh, okay. Same. Yeah, and I've been running it at 1440p high, and it stays somewhere around 80 frames per second. And the graphics are freaking beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. But I don't blame you at all, Russ, for putting on frame. Everybody who, I understand why people are like, I would like to never have to turn on frame generation. I get that. But if you can't, if the system that you're playing on cannot maintain a stable 60 and you can turn it on and it feels okay, what's wrong with that? I don't see anything wrong with that. Well, the Raster boys are coming after you though, Russ. They're coming.
I know.
You play at 30 like me.
I mean, the only 2 games I've seen where frame gen is like, okay, this is actually decent, has been this game and the new Lego Batman. Like those are the 2 where I'm like, all right, this actually works out pretty well. And really, I think awesome. I think it says a lot about the future and how this is going to work. But, kind of backwards porting it to other games and stuff has not been great, And so, I'm not going to say this is the last game I'll ever use frame gen on, but it's the first.
What have you been? How far into it are you, Jimmy?
I'm pretty far. I ended up playing it with Ray, my business partner from Xbox Ready. We got through like 80% of it in one night. And it was a blast playing it with one of my close friends. Playing on my 5080 PC, and it's hard capped at like 90 FPS, which is insane for a 5080. So I watched the Digital Foundry PC tech review, and it turns out that in performance mode, the Xbox Series X is using a lot of settings that are lower than the low preset allows on PC. And I love the guy's accent. Wow. I forgot his name, but he's like, they basically have a PC that's like equivalent to the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. And they were like, we told Microsoft before the game came out that it has a major CPU problem and it's just running way lower at like equivalent settings. It's running at like 50 FPS. When on Xbox, it's like pegged at 60 perfectly, except for some cutscenes. So there's like a CPU bug with this game, which sucks. That really bothers me. But yeah, I've been playing on the 5080 PC. That's been good. On Steam Machine, I used the Digital Foundry console settings and can confirm that, yes, it does not run at 60 FPS using the same settings as the Series X or as close as you can get to it. So yeah, I hope they fix this game. Like, it's crazy that Halo is coming out and it's a remake of the original. And there was no pressing reason to release it. Just wait till it's done.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it. But
right.
I'm having fun with it. There's like little things that bug me, like the AI is definitely worse on the Covenant, which I don't understand because apparently it's the same game running with Unreal Engine on top. And then they added in a lot more hunters on heroic mode, which is fun. But like when you have those fights very close together, like you win by the skin of your teeth with 2 people in heroic against 2 hunters, and then you turn a corner and there's 2 more, it starts to get like, oh, again. So then we were like rubber banding them. We were like, one of us would distract them, the other guy would shoot him in the back, and then they would come aggro that guy. We'd like flip back and forth. So just like little nitpicky things like that. But overall, I think the graphics look really good. What?
That sounds awesome though. Like, you guys were like, that was using cool. Tactics to take them out. It was the time in between the fights, like when they're too bunched up. It's like the Marauder in Doom Eternal. It's like
there's a part towards the end of the game where you have to fight one, and then the next room there's two, and it's like, oh man, how am I going to do this? But yeah, the strategy aspect of it was fun. I love when the Covenant weapons are in the Halo structures, like the Forerunner structures, and you see the nanite and lumen like kick in, and the like blaster bolts are like flying all over, and there's just reflections everywhere. It's like burning my eyes. It's kind of sick.
Yeah, I was just on the Pillar of Autumn, the ship that you're on in the very beginning. And just going up against, what are those little guys called? The runts.
The grunts?
Grunts, yeah.
Grunts, yeah, the grunts. Those guys, they kept shooting like the green gun, you know, where you hold it down and then release it, and then your hand is like, you know. They were shooting those. And as the green orbs are flying down the hallway, like you could see the light just scattering all over everything. And I was just like, damn, this looks so freaking good.
It's like, whoa. They had a bug with those guys for the whole review period where their plasma pistols were overtuned like crazy. So if they got a shot on you with a fully charged plasma pistol, it was just a one-hit kill no matter what. And that was like ridiculous, dude. We were getting sniped by these grunts from like 20 miles away. You'd see this green bolt come and it'd just like kill you. It was funny, but they fixed it, thankfully. So we'd be in like a vehicle and we'd just get one-shotted by a grunt. And it's like, no.
Yeah, they were.
I'm really jealous of you, though, Jimmy. Oh, go ahead, Russ.
I was just going to say there are definitely moments where it feels like it's like this pure upgraded version of the original. But then there's some parts where I'm like, it actually removes me from the feeling. And so like I don't like the look of your shield and the other guy's shields, like the elite shields when they're recharging and stuff. Like it just looks weird. Like I don't know why. I think
like
of it more as a shell, but this is like, yeah, it's like this weird kind of mesh looking and stuff. I don't really like that look. And then the pistol has been like really dumbed down, you know, like that used to be really overpowered, but in a cool way, you know, and now it's just like, I don't even want to go to my pistol.
Yeah, you used to be able to one-shot hunters with it if you got them in the back.
Yeah. It was, and you used to be able to fire so quickly, and now you can't really do that. And the other thing for me too is that I always wanted to play Halo 1 while aiming down the sights. I always thought that would be really fun, you know, and they've added it to this game and I never touch it. I never aim down the sights. And I think maybe it's just muscle memory where it's like, I just don't even think about it when I'm playing this game. But kind of one of those funny things where I wished for something and then it came and I didn't even want it.
Yeah, I don't like ADS on the pistol, but I like it on the assault rifle. And I don't know why.
It's only
I don't have a
It's like a 1.25 zoom. It's just like a small zoom to get in. And so that makes sense. The pistol's a 2x zoom. So
they cut the magazine in half on the AR too. Which I thought was weird.
I feel like I'm reloading all the time.
Yeah, the reload animation's cool though. It like clicks in. Like Master Chief feels jacked in this game. He's like he's channeling Doom Guy a little bit. Like the melee hits just a little bit harder. I like that. But yeah, I was watching Jake review and his whole vibe was like, it's good. It doesn't really live up to Halo. That's kind of where I'm coming down on it. Like it's fun to play through, but I'm not like, you know, I'm not like ready to throw away the Master Chief collection, right? With the original graphics. So like, I wish it got a little more time in the oven, but I'm not mad I played it. That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm jealous of you, Jimmy, because I have never played Halo multiplayer. I mean, co-op. I've never played a co-op Halo. And like hearing that you and Ray went through and played like almost the whole game in one night, that sounds incredibly fun. And it's something I absolutely need to do. I might have to, like, I got a review. I got a review code. I have to be transparent about this. I got a review code for Halo Campaign Evolved, but I think I'm going to buy another copy so that my son and I can play. There's no split screen, right? Is there split screen?
No split screen. Oh wait, yeah, there.
Okay,
there is split screen. You just need to make the second person needs to make their own Xbox account, which is kind of annoying.
That's right,
but
that's right.
You can do it.
Okay, maybe I don't know. Maybe we'll try it with split screen. Although the system that we would probably be playing that on would be the Steam machine, and if it struggles without split screen, I wonder have either of you guys tried it with split screen on the Steam machine?
No, but if you go to that Digital Foundry video and match the Series X settings, it should help a lot because like it's mostly low. The console preset.
Well, no, I was
low.
talking. Oh, but you're talking about for the Steam
like
machine.
that'll lower the load probably enough.
Okay. Cool. All right. Jimmy, you've been playing Gears E-Day. I didn't know that was out. I've been so out of the loop. Oh, okay. Cool.
I got to play. I was like, oh, I got to play this early. Yeah. So Ray and I got invited to play the like influencer tech test for the new Horde mode. And I played it on my, they said I can only capture footage if I use my 5080 PC. So I was like, all right, but they did give me a Steam key. It ran excellently, which is kind of crazy because this game doesn't come out till October. I was running it ultra, locked at 60, never saw a frame drop. I was like really impressed with that. This new Horde mode is going to steal my life. It is so sick. It's so good. It's like, it's kind of like if you took Horde mode and mixed it with Helldivers 2. So it's called Horde Siege mode. And there's 3 squads of 4 on this giant map. And you're all 3 squads are doing their own objectives that like kind of make you cross paths. So you'll be like going to kill this mini boss, and then you'll see 4 guys run by, and they'll see you getting shot by the mini boss. Then they can just start helping, and then they can go do whatever they were doing. And then towards the end of the match, you all have to converge on the center, and it's like hold off for 10 waves together with 12 people. It felt so badass, awesome. Dude. And there's like this new weapon called the Gore Hook, and it's like a big gun with a harpoon in it that has a chain on it. So if you shoot a normal locust with it, it blows them up into blood, which is awesome. But if there's these big guys called boomers, which are like big fat locusts, and if you shoot them, it just rips chunks out of them. And the detail's insane. Like it's a crazy upgrade with Unreal Engine 5, and like the vaulting works really well. Like you have a jump button, like a dedicated jump in a Gears game. It has normal sprinting that kind of works like the roadie run, but you have a little bit more control. I was using the Lancer to execute guys like every chance I got because it's so finely detailed. And it felt so cool to play a game like this again, where it's a little bit corny, but in the best way possible. Like I wanted to put Spotify on and go to my Limp Bizkit playlist and just listen to that while I was playing. I was like, this is just so good. So that is one of my most anticipated games.
Isn't Gears of War just the one that has Metallica music in the menus or some nonsense?
Yeah. You could play Master of Puppets instrumental on you can make that your main menu theme in this one.
I'm sure that will the license will expire and the game will get delisted or something at some point.
Like Forza.
So have you had a chance to play? I know that you could only capture footage on your 5090, but have you had a chance to play it on your regular living room PC?
No, I tried to start it up, and then it had very stringent review period times. And because I had to capture footage for Ray for Xbox Ready, I only ended up playing on this PC, but it was running beautifully. Like it didn't stutter at all, loaded right up. I was really impressed with that, especially considering there's like 12 people running around. I'm at 1440 Ultra. Like I don't know what the uncapped would have been, but it was holding 60 easily. So I feel like they're not lying when they say it's extremely well optimized. Like I can just kind of tell. Like there's none of that. You know, like in Unreal, when you load into a new area, you'll either see a stutter or you'll see textures load in for like 2 or 3 seconds. That does not happen. It's just like you load into the game and you're in the game. And I was like, if everyone worked with Unreal like this, I'd be a lot happier with the engine overall, because it has its own visual identity too, which is another weird thing about Unreal.
People shit on Unreal all the time, but like Arc Raiders is an Unreal game, and that game runs like a dream and looks gorgeous. Like my son has been playing Arc Raiders, and he was like, because I gave him an old PC that I had, because I don't know, something was wrong with his power supply or something. So I was like, here, take this old PC that I'm not using anymore, and he installed Arc Raiders. He's like, I didn't know it looked that good. I didn't know it played that well. I was like, yeah, I know, it's a really good game. But that's an Unreal game, and that game runs like a dream. It's awesome, and it's very well optimized. Like people play that on the Steam Deck sometimes.
Yeah. They said that with Unreal Engine 6, the big defining feature is going to be performance and scalability. So Fingers crossed, because this is how it usually goes with Unreal. Like towards the end of a generation, they fix all the bugs with it, and then they immediately move on to the next version, and the cycle begins anew. But yeah, there's been a lot of games that work well in Unreal this year. Like Lego Batman is really well optimized. Chronos: The New Dawn from last year is really well optimized. Silent Hill F, Gears E-Day. I would say Halo, it's not as well optimized as I would like, but it's better optimized than a lot of the Unreal Engine games we were getting in the early part of this generation. So we're moving in the right direction, but Gears is awesome. Check out Ray's video. We talked about it in his weekend Xbox Ready video together, so you can hear us.
Shoot me a link and I'll drop it in the description down below so people can check that out.
Okay.
Because I think that people would be interested in it.
I'm actually interested in it because, like, for me, I honestly only played through the first Gears game on the 360, and then I kind of lost it after that. What I've always wanted to see is like an origin story. Like, who are these locusts? Where do they come from? What's their motivation? Like, that's kind of what I've always wanted to see. And so this feels like, and I know that they address that in some of the other games later on and stuff, but this feels like a good jumping in spot for me. So I'm looking forward to it.
You should eventually play 2 and 3 because they just get better, and then they get worse. After Judgment 4 and 5 are like a descending. Like 4 is pretty decent, but 5 I really didn't like. But 2 and 3, I would say 2 is probably the fan favorite of the 3. I really like 3 because it's like 5 action movies in one. Like every chapter just escalates what's happening on screen, and it's one of those games where you're like, how the hell did they get this to run on a 360? It holds up visually in this generation. I just played it again.
Nice. Yeah.
That new horde mode sounds awesome though. Like I love the idea of crisscrossing as you're doing the mission and then everybody comes together at the end. That sounds really, really fun.
It's cool. Like when there was a moment where 3 of the guys on my squad were fighting a mini boss, and I saw that there was a reward from a side objective like 100 yards away. So I broke off from the group and I went down because like an emergence hole opened up right next to me, and I thought I was dead and I'd have to wait for the respawn. Then that guy on Twitter who blows up all the time, Blue Thunder, comes like from a alleyway 20 feet from me, lifts me up and just keeps going. And I was like, that's awesome. That like I've never had an experience like that in a game. It was pretty cool.
Very cool. All right. Well, before we wrap up the show, I want to hear what these guys have been working on. Russ, what have you been working on, man?
So I have so many irons in the fire right now. I need to make a Steam Machine emulation video. I keep going back and forth whether or not it should be just a showcase to say, hey, this is what it can do, or if it's going to be like a full-on guide and be like, hey, here's how to do it. I don't know if there's enough Steam Machine owners to really justify making everyone sit through that, So I'm still kind of playing around with that. And then I want to do the same thing with the MSI Claw to really talk about that G3 Extreme chip. But really what's been taking up all my time this week has been the Retroid Pocket Nova, which is like this 4x3 OLED, beautiful little handheld. And so that'll be my next video. It'll probably come out probably the same day as this show, actually. And so, I've been working on that for several days now, just inundated with requests. Can you please test this tiny little thing in your video? And I've got like 200 of those, and I got to decide what I'm going to actually show and what I'm not going to show. So, yeah.
Now we know why Russ's videos are always at least an hour long.
Right.
Jimmy, what have you been working on, man?
I just finished writing right before this podcast a new video for my Jimmy Champagne horror channel about the situation going on with Nightmare on Elm Street, which is absolutely insane. So long story short, Wes Craven's estate, after they got the rights back to the first script, they said, okay, we're going to take pitches from studios. And then Paramount, I guess, won out. They were like, we love your vision. Here's our blessing. Go make a movie. Warner Brothers owns the rights to all the sequels. And they were like, well, we're going to make our own movie and we're going to try and get it out first so that they just stop making theirs. They're just like, so like everyone's on Twitter arguing over like who's going to make the better Nightmare on Elm Street. And my take on it is, this is like a race to the bottom big time. Like the goal just became like switched from making a good movie to who can make a movie quicker. And we've waited 15 years for a new Nightmare movie. And I'm just like, I can wait longer. I can wait forever. I don't want to see these two rushed movie. I don't want to see either of them. So that's what I'm working on. And then I'm working on a video about the Halloween the game, how it looks really freaking good, but the reputation of the publisher and the developer is not great because of a lot of decisions they've made since they first worked together on Friday the 13th. So I'm kind of like weighing if it's worth trusting, but they're doing a lot of stuff that addresses a lot of fan concerns. So I'm remaining optimistic about Halloween the game.
All right. Well, if those videos are out by the time you guys see this, look in the description down below so that you can check them out, or you can just click on the subscribe button and it'll take you to all of the appropriate channels as well. For those of you who missed it throughout the show, I threw a couple of codes. I'm a Humble partner, and I also subscribe to Humble Choice, but there were a couple of games that I wasn't really interested in, and so I put the codes somewhere on screen, somewhere during the episode. You guys can go back and find them if you want. But thank you for hanging out with us, and hopefully this episode actually comes out. Because I guess these guys said I sounded like garbage for the first 45 minutes or whatever. We'll see how it happens. But thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye, everybody.
Guys.